All right, good afternoon, good evening, no matter the time zone where you're joining us from. My name is Pray Frederick, and is the 2025 edition of City Report Scorecard. And as you may all be aware, in the next few days, on the 29th of May 2025, the current administration led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be celebrating 2 years anniversary as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And since he came into office, he has taken a lot of policies, he has taken a lot of actions, and these actions may not be well with some Nigerians or the economy, or it may be going well for some people and the economy. But someone that will be speaking on this issue is not a new face on the program. He's a public commentator and also a businessman. So he will be speaking from the point that he knows what he's talking about in his own right. I'm talking about no other person but Mr. Good News Joseph. Mr. Good News Joseph, it's good to have you again after a year.
To have you again, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How has it been?
We're fine, we're fine. We bless God.
Okay, Mr. Good News Joseph, the last time we spoke was a year ago on when the current administration was actually marking 1 year in office. Then we looked at
Yeah,
the
yeah.
policies of the government, and you did say a lot of things, and time will not allow us to play back most of those things. But let's just continue from where we are now. It's 2 years down the line. Are things looking better? Is the economy doing well? Is business functioning well in Nigeria?
Thank you, my brother. First of all, I want to appreciate you for the fact that the last time we met, we discussed so many things at length concerning the steady growth of this country. Considering what you just asked now, I can say that the whole scenario is what is playing out now in this country. I can say for sure the president is on course in terms of stabilizing the economy. His policies have started manifesting. The last time we spoke, I was trying to understand his policies then. But if I want to rate the economy now, I'll still keep it below average. But I can see steady, slow growth. Let me just say slow growth, but still below average. But it's coming up a little. You understand? Even you know now the inflation rate, it has dropped a little. I'm not looking at the number. I'm just looking at the way things are in the markets because I do business and also buy stuffs too. So for some time now, our materials you always buy for our business, the price has been moderate, not going high, and is dropping little by little. Although it's insignificant though, but I can say the economy is on the right path for now.
Wow, that's very interesting. That though it's slow but steady, than
Yeah.
inflation. Just recently, the Bureau for Statistics just said that the inflation has dropped to 23%. And
Yes,
and you're
it
speaking from
was
the
it was
point of
7%
authority.
before.
Yeah, that the materials you use for your business has calm down, though not significant, but it seems something is working. But you did
Yeah.
start by saying that you think the president is on the right track. Why did you say that?
Well, you know me too well. You know I'm a serious critic when it comes to the president. The fact that I didn't vote for him speaks volume about that. But I've seen his policies, um, and in terms of infrastructure and in terms of um, making the dollar accessible and also improving improving more, especially infrastructure, is actually helping us. He's also traveling out. I've watched so many times he traveled out of this country to go and um, bring in foreign direct investors. And he has gotten some positive response in terms of that. He went to France, and I think he had a business deal with the French president, and they are also investing in Nigeria. There is also when he traveled to UAE and he discussed with the Arabs, they are also doing business with us. And the Chinese are also investing a whole lot in our economy. So, all those foreign direct investments, those are what may really make our economy to be stronger and also improve on the economy. So, on that note, I feel he has stepped up a little in terms of not even sending his ministers or his government parastatals. He's going on his own to discuss those business directly with their president. He met the China president early this year, and they discussed so many positive things concerning how the Chinese will come and invest more. So I feel all those trips he has took is bringing out positive response. That's why the economy is catching up a little. We know there are so many things to be done, but for now, it's coming up a little. Let's see how things go by next year in his third term.
Wow.
In his third year.
Let's see how things goes in the coming days and the second. No, he still has 2 years to go. But you did
I'm
highlight
talking about.
you did highlight
Okay.
the travels of the president and how he has been able to attract foreign investments into the country. And you did say that he goes by himself to seek this bilateral collaboration among countries. So it seems you are very hopeful about the remaining 2 years of this administration.
Hopeful.
Yeah.
Well, I just try to be optimistic about the whole thing. This is Nigeria.
Okay.
And this is Nigeria. You know how politicians behave. When it comes to this is just 2 years. Although he's slow, this is what I expect him to start immediately he assumed office. The pace is very slow because from 2026, let's say end of 2026, he'll start preparing for his second term in office. So then we'll not see more of development. Then in terms of infrastructure, the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, they flagged off the Calabar section. I think they have done 70% of the coastal highway from Lagos to is it Benin? So when the last time I'm talking about the Minister of Works, when he talked about the project, I think that was last month. They went to Calabar to inaugurate because they are doing it. They share the project. The project is not one company that is handling it, so they are coming from 4 different angles. They have the one that is coming from Lagos. They have the one that will kick off from Delta to Port Harcourt. They also have the one that is kicking off from Port Harcourt to Akwa Ibom, then Calabar to Akwa Ibom. You understand? So far, that project is yielding positive response. I've seen it, and I'm not by any way taking side with the president. The president is not my fan. In terms of the infrastructure, he's trying, but there are so many challenges in this governance in terms of putting the right people to handle the right projects. I think the president needs to check thoroughly most of his ministers. There are some ministers that are not doing well. I think he needs to drop them. I don't want to mention the ministry, but there are so many
that's what I
ministers
was
that are
going to ask you if you're going to mention those that you feel they are not performing in the government. But you said you don't need to mention.
Should I mention them?
No, it's up to you. But if there are people that you can identify that they are not doing their duties from your own point of view, I think you should be able to point them out. Are there ministers that you feel they are not doing well? Or maybe they are ministries?
Let me just mention the ministers that are doing fine.
Okay.
Let me just mention the ministers that are doing fine.
Okay.
Then those other ones I didn't mention, you know that those are the ones that are not doing fine. Okay. The FCT minister, by Ezebunwan Wike he's the best minister that the president can even boast of having. I can also talk about um, the minister of Bo. They need to sack that minister. Let me just mention the minister. I don't know the minister's name, but the minister of labor is not the minister of aviation. Festus Keyamo is doing a good job. I've been to the airports and I've also seen most of his policy that he has enacted in the 4 international airports that we do have. I'm talking about the Port Harcourt, the Abuja, and the 3 major international airports: Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Lagos. The minister of aviation is doing fine in that aspect. Minister of Works is doing fine. Then that of the Minister of Agriculture, I feel that ministry is still very much slow in terms of delivering quality service. Minister of Agriculture, the ministry is still lagging behind.
Okay,
Minister
I
of
think
Defense, I feel let me just mention the few ones I want to mention.
we
Minister
have
of Defense.
over 40 ministers, so you may not be able to go through all of them.
Uh,
But maybe let me give you
that's
1 or 2 minutes to mention a few again. So we can go to the next question.
Minister of Defense is not doing okay. I feel
Okay.
that ministry need to drop the minister, even also the chief of defense staff. If I were if I happen to be the president of this country, I would have sacked the minister, the chief of defense staff, and also the minister of defense. I would have sacked them because they are doing a bad job to this country.
Why do you feel so?
Let me just give you a simple example. What happened last week? The director general of JAMP, he came on live television. He apologized, even though he was playing the game of crying on live television, which I feel the right thing for him to have done is for him to just resign. But he came, and for the first time, I'm seeing a politician coming out to apologize to the whole nation their failure. I want to give him credit on that, because it takes, in this country that we are, it's very rare for you to see a politician to come out and
Well, I think
apologize
the man in
to
charge of
their
JAM is he may not really be a politician. He's a
citizens.
professor. He may not really be a politician, but I get your point of view. Like seeing somebody in public office, a leader coming to own up, to take responsibility for whatever actions that they may have caused people. And just like you said, you felt he should resign. But for the fact that you saw a kind of sincerity in his apology, so that's like a good one coming in the country that we all know that it's not easy to come by. Okay, I think that's good for this aspect. Let's not forget our focus. We are still talking on the economy and the challenges. We've talked about the situation of the economy right now. Like you said, the inflation is coming down and the policies of the government are actually yielding results, though they are slow. So let's look at the task, the bill that is about to be passed. I think it has gone second reading or so. But when this bill come to play, is it going to like improve the economy
It
of the
has passed
country?
the
Is it
second.
going to be favorable for the masses? What does this bill, the tax reform bill of the president?
That bill is a vast. The
Okay,
bill
I
is a
didn't get you.
vast bill.
Go.
To some extent, I have not really studied. I've not studied the bill. I've not studied the full content of the bill. I've not studied the full content of it, but I know I've read from the national dailies the few positive aspect about the bill. I feel the bill will allow companies. There will be a reduction of tax clearance on companies. I think what I saw there
Okay. So
just
in other words,
to seven.
you agree that from what you have read from maybe other sources, the bill is actually a good one.
The bill is a fine bill. There is no aspect of the bill that will disenfranchise any region. So initially, when the president presented the bill, the most of the senators from the northern aspect of Nigeria, they tried to kick against the bill because they felt it will it will malign them in terms of them getting some tax from most of those things that they felt the federal government is trying to exclude them. Because let me just give a simple example like that of breweries. So many of the northern states, because of their Sharia law, they don't allow people to drink alcoholic drinks, but they are also enjoying taxes from those companies. So I think that bill, there is a section that there is a clause in the bill that if you are not a beneficiary from any of those companies, then you will not benefit from their tax. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I get.
Like if you're not consuming
If you're
any
not
of those stuff,
consuming, you will not
you
benefit
cannot,
from
you will not benefit
the
yeah.
profit
So
that comes
because
from
of
it.
that, because of that, if the northern senators they are actually kicked against it because it will malign them for them not to be getting those revenues, those little revenues that normally comes to their own state. But I think the president has balanced it up with some other incentives. That was why they had to slow down so that bill will be passed. The bill is a
It's
vast bill. I'll
just like
maybe
throwing the
subsequently
baby with the bath
when we
water.
have
But
our discussion, the bill better.
you said, I didn't get your
I
last.
say subsequently. I say subsequently when we have our next discussion, I will study the bill better. Then I can know how to present the
Okay,
whole because the bill is a very big bill.
but you actually made your point that it seems from what you have read from other sources is a good bill. So let's go to Port Harcourt Refinery. But the time we had our last discussion, the Dangote Refinery was not on stream. That hasn't come on stream, I'm sure. Then the Port Harcourt Refinery
Yeah.
too hasn't come on stream. But as we speak to you, sometime around August last year, the Dangote Refinery came on board. Then towards early January or December last year, the Port Harcourt Refinery too, they said came on board. Is the Port Harcourt Refinery working from your source?
The refinery is not working.
Port Harcourt Refinery is not working.
Initially, yes. The last time we had this discussion, that was when I told you that the federal government actually invested a whole lot for that refinery to come up. And I'm saying it. Then I told you I have a friend that works with NNPC, and he told me that between June, July, they're going to commission the refinery, that they will start using the refinery, which they did. So they did the refinery was not fully completed. As I'm speaking to you now, they have not completed that refinery. They had to do I don't know, they wanted the whole world to see that what they are spending money on will actually yield results. I'm talking about the former MD Melekiari of the NNPC.
Yeah.
What he actually did was bringing those media, and they opened some sections that they had some products and started disbursing. They disbursed, according to my source, they disbursed for like 2 weeks, and the refinery had another problem again. So it was more like a test run. That's why now inaugurate. They were inaugurating something that we were test running. So it developed another fault. That was why they cannot even, they have not started selling products again. If you observe now, the only people that are selling products in this country see the independent marketers and Dangote refinery. Those are the people selling products. And the independent marketers, they are trying as much as to frustrate Dangote out of the business because they feel Dangote's product is cheap. And actually, Dangote's product is cheap and his fuel is the best. But then now, they are getting this product because they're doing business. I'm talking about the independent marketers. They are doing business. They are going there to buy this product, coming down to Nigeria to sell at high exorbitant rates, while Dangote is selling at 868 naira. NNPC is selling NNPC is selling at, I think, 840. Independent marketers are selling at 910, 920, depending on your location.
Okay.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what I'm trying, in a nutshell, what I'm saying is the refinery is not working. The refinery is not working. We are still importing fuel from independent marketers and also buying from Dangote.
Mm. That's a big one, and which NNPC may even come out to deny because the news
No,
out there.
they may deny from Nancy. They can deny from Nancy tomorrow, but that's the fact.
It's the fact that the Port Harcourt refinery is not working. Okay,
Yes,
so doing business in Nigeria as it stands now, you talk, and I keep repeating, so far your view of the administration, the fittings are stabilizing, but doing business with the cost of energy, how is doing business like in Nigeria as of 2025? How do you find it easy or difficult to do business?
doing
Looking at
business in
energy
Nigeria,
costs.
we still find it so challenging in terms of, there are so many factors here now. We're talking about clearing of imported goods, in terms of power, and in terms of security. Those are the three major factors that is hindering business in this country. Security, um, clearing of goods, and power. And I must tell you that those three factors are really hindering business in Nigeria. We still buy power, and as I'm speaking with you, the federal government are planning on increasing power for the band A users. The power we don't even see. We are still using our alternative source of power. I mean our generator. As little as my business is, in my head office, I spend 25,000 naira fuel every day. In my branch office, I spend 15,000 naira fuel every day. That is a major bottleneck already doing business in Nigeria. Then, if I'm getting stores from China, clearing of one container to clear a 20-feet container in Apapa Wharf is still over 7.5 million. So I don't want to talk about security. Sometimes I want to travel to Lagos. I cannot even use the road. I always use the flight. I always use flights. Going to Abuja, I cannot even use road, using flights. So if the president really wants to have major improvement in terms of doing business in Nigeria, those are the three major factors I feel the president should handle heads on. But so far, for now, those are the big challenges we are still facing. It's not easy. And since last year till now, I don't think there is any improvement on these three aspects.
Hmm.
I don't think we have any improvement on
Okay,
these three
talking about
aspects.
power, it seems your signal is a bit better.
They just gave the light,
Okay,
but they will soon
we're
take the
talking
light.
about power. Maybe the president heard you. All right. And it seems you even went ahead of me to even suggest what you wanted the president to do. And even the last time, you did make some submission for the president to look into. And I kept tagging the president to see your suggestions. So now you're giving another suggestion of what the president should do and all those stuff. But now you talk about the cost of running your business, as little as it may be for you. You spend 25,000 to run the headquarter per day, and that's not throughout the day. Maybe it was just a period of time. Then maybe you switch to the major power source, maybe if it comes, or once you are done with the major thing you wanted to do with electricity, you still put the power off, and that will cost you at least 25,000 in a day. So now somebody that is about to come into business that does not even have what it takes, like, as in up to what you have, What advice would you be giving to such person that wants to go into business in Nigeria right now?
Well, any person that wants to do any business in this country, the first thing you need to tackle is power. So you cannot depend on Nigerian NEPA to run your business. So there are so many factors, but this particular factor of power, you need to factor in that. That's the primary challenge that the any person that's running business will face. So what I feel the person will do is either have an alternative source of power, either generator or go for solar. If the person has the capacity to go for solar, because now solar, they have different packages that can that can also help any kind of business you're doing. So if the person can have the source of wealth, like if the person can go to bank and get a loan for solar, this bank, Access Bank, is running. Let me not advertise for them. There are banks that run loans for solar. Just be taking small money from your account to pay off. If you don't have if the person doesn't have the huge sum of money to set up a solar, you can go and get a loan to set up the solar because he will still buy the fuel. If he's not having that solar, he must buy fuel to run his business. And without power, I don't think the person can run any of the business they want to run this country.
Seriously, without power, it will not be possible for someone to run his business. And, the time is not always that much for us to do a lot of conversation. But just like in your early part, you actually went into almost everything I was going to ask you. But as we go towards May 29, what advice will you be giving to Nigerians and the president? Maybe when we have our next conversation, we can go into the 2027 politics because it seems politics has already started even before marking 2 years in office. And we're supposed to talk about River State too. How the state of emergency affects business in River State. Does it have any effect in River State? I think you should answer this one. The state of emergency.
Yeah, it does. The state of emergencies has affected loss of business in River State. It has slowed down the economy of River State. As at now, there is no project that the state government is handling. They are not commissioning any projects. They are not executing any projects. The local government, the same thing. Nobody is executing or commissioning any projects. In terms of doing business, if you go to the heart of Port Harcourt, like Transamadi, you go to GRA, you go to some part of Agri Road, you will notice that even the entertainment business, in terms of all those bars, restaurants, people hardly go out because there is no money. River State is a state whereby we have so many infrastructure projects going on. That's why they called the former governor Mr. Projects. So when those projects are going on, people are actually making money through jobs and also buying and selling of goods items in terms of maybe all those building materials, furnitures, and the rest. But for now, since the state of emergency has stayed for almost 2 months now, business has been slow. In terms of patronage, it has been slow, including my own self. We are not getting much jobs from private individuals. It's only from churches and probably people doing a different kind of programs. In terms of school jobs, we don't used to have them anymore. Everything is just on a standstill. And we don't have that direct investors coming to River State to invest again because they are scared in terms of the state of emergency. Nobody wants to come and invest. Some people are taking their business to other states, moving so many of their projects to other states because of the state of emergency.
So
it's actually
if you have to advise the president right now, do you see the state of emergency coming to a close before 6 months, or do you think the 6 months will be extended? What advice would you give Rivers politicians concerning
First of all,
state of emergency?
first of all, I don't see any reason why. First of all, I don't see any reason why there should be state of emergency in River State. I used to understand the meaning of state of emergency if there's crisis in any location. There is no crisis in River State. River State, to me, I feel River State is one of the most peaceful states in the whole country. When we're talking about crisis states, we know the states that are affected by major crisis, but River State, there is no crisis. So there is no point of even having the state of emergency in River State. They are just using that as a political
But
game
it seems the
to
state was politically in crisis, and if the president had not have acted that when he did, the state would have been engulfed with serious crisis that would have claimed the lives and properties of people. You think the president did not act in the best interest of Rivers people and the nation?
every every state has their challenges. It's not the political challenge in River State is not just in only River State. Almost all the states has their political challenges. So I cannot, because of a political challenge that is going on between the former minister and the present governor, to declare a state of emergency. There are so many states that are having political tension, rising tensions. So why couldn't the president go and declare a state of emergency in those states? Why must it be River State?
The one in
River
Rivers
State is
State
like the
not
treasury bill of the minister.
higher than what? Rivers State is the state that lays the golden egg. And the president has benched his budget for the year based on what they are going to be selling from the crude oil sector. And you think the president would like to fold his hand to allow things go wrong in River State, and that will affect the economy. Oh, you didn't get me? I said the president has already patched his budget for 2025 on the River States on crude oil. So if the president has allowed the political tension in River State to go the way it was going, it would have affected the budget, don't you think so? So the president may be trying to preempt the crisis from affecting the production of crude oil in the country.
Okay. This state of emergency the president declared in these states now, is there any positivity? Is there any positive result coming out from the state of emergency that is being declared?
I'm the one doing the questioning and answering.
Okay, well, that's like a rhetorical question.
Okay.
What I'm trying to say is there is no positivity from the state of emergency. It has not solved the problem. The people are still having their grievances.
Okay, but
The
he
supporters
gave
are
a
still having
time
their
frame, 6
grievances.
months for them to settle. So if they settle before 6 months, he may call off the state of emergency. If they don't
No,
settle, it will be elongated.
The president should rethink and also reverse this state of emergency on this river on River State, because it's not a solution to this. The president called the minister and the governor, and they had a peace talk. And I believe there were some resolutions that he told them to go and abide on. The FCT minister didn't abide with some of the resolutions. The governor also didn't abide with some of them. I feel the president would have called them back and also talk about those resolutions that were discussed prior initially. Then from there, they now look for a way where they can make a positive solution instead of declaring a state of emergency, because this is affecting everybody in River State.
Okay. Now, a lot of people have come to argue that the declaring the state of emergency is unlawful in River State, and suspending elected officials and exempting the minister for FCT, who is actually like responsible for all the crises, according to speculation, according to people saying that he is the major man in this fight. But the president did not suspend him, but rather suspended only the governor and the lawmakers. And that's like putting the minister above all of them. It seems you're not getting my sound. Did you hear what I said? The action of the president, did he put like the FCT minister above the governor and the others? Like, was there a playing field for all of them, the suspension?
The president, right from the beginning, the president has always been biased when it comes to River State matter. He has always taken the side of the FCT minister. Whatever he's doing, more like he consults the minister before he now takes any decision in this state. So he's biased already. The president has taken side with the minister. So all this thing is doing is always favoring the minister. So um,
So what's the way out?
like I said, and I was still saying,
What's the
the
way out?
president has no reason to declare state of emergency in River State. You can come and do even market survey or go to the street and do street survey and hear from the people. 80%, majority of people will still tell you the same thing that I'm telling you now, that there is no need for state of emergency in River State. This fight is a political fight. They don't need to declare some on political issues. Like you said too, this act of state of emergency in River State is unconstitutional because I've met my lawyer friends for them to explain and to interpret that section of the constitution that gives the president a declare state of emergency in any state.
All right, everyone. I've been speaking with Mr. Good News Joseph all the way from Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria. And he has been speaking with us about the state of the nation on the economy, how we looked at how the current administration has been faring in the area of the economy, talked about the energy sector, talked about the policies of the government, talked about a lot, and some ministers that need to be fired and those who are doing well. Indeed, Mr. Good News Joseph has been able to highlight 2 years of this administration, but this is not where we are ending. We had a technical issue, so it went off. So this is the much we can take on today's program. My name is Priya Frederick, but by next week, Sunday, I'll be coming again with another guest as we'll be looking at scorecard of the president. But if you feel that the president has done well or is not doing well, you can drop your comments on the comment section. Tell us your view and rate this administration if this administration is performing. The president did promise that he was going to fight corruption, going to make sure that the education sector is well managed and that it brings down inflation and make sure that the dollar does well and that the economy will be better. But so far, 2 years down the line, are you impressed with what the president is doing? Are you impressed with this government? Your state governor, are you impressed with what your state governor is doing? So join us next week as we continue to spotlight and look at the issues that surround the 2 years anniversary of this current administration. My name is Priya Frederick. Thank you for watching. From all of us at City Report, we say, do have a lovely Sunday. Good night.